Hey everybody, so this is diary entry 14. I'm sorry that I haven't posted in like a couple days and since the last video was a little exhausting and draining and really rough for me to just get through. I'm doing better now. It's been a couple days, so I'm just doing my best to move forward and focus on the things at hand rather than, stay stuck in certain things that are in the past and that are obviously not healthy for me, that I've been realizing it's harder to let go of, and I've been working to let them go at my own pace. It's just it, it was hard for me to really comprehend and really let that sit with me for a while. So I'm glad that I was able to at least, let it happen and let myself feel it. It's just, growing up, I didn't like being vulnerable. I didn't like crying because I felt like it was a form of weakness, at least in my eyes growing up. And obviously that's not healthy and it's not good to force yourself to not cry. But I feel like the more older I've gotten, I've allowed myself to be more vulnerable and allow myself to cry. And now I feel like I'm just a big crybaby most of the time. And it just frustrates me because I'm like, I didn't cry this much growing up. So I'm like, I don't know. But, it's healthy because it's good to cry and it's good to feel feelings. And now I'm just doing my best to get through those feelings and heal and continue working on myself and continue working on my progress and changing my habits and working on my anxiety and my overthinking and just getting through my struggles that are such a daily thing for me. And today, ever since that video a couple days before, I hadn't been doing yoga and I hadn't been working out, and I could tell it was really affecting me because today when I did yoga this morning, it just made me feel really at peace and really clear in my head. And I need to make sure that I'm consistently doing it just because it allows me to have a moment of clarity to really just let whatever's in my head go for those 15 minutes that I'm warming my body up with yoga. And it makes me feel good. And so I think what was happening was, since I was, dealing with certain things and overthinking about them, I would wake up and the first thought in my head would be me overthinking about whatever it was that was in my head. And it's just, it's getting used to of changing that type of mindset and changing that routine. And it's just, I know it's a work in progress, and I'm gonna continue being patient because my progress is just gonna have to really, happen when it does, and that's okay. And, I am in no rush whatsoever to, be at my better place because I feel like I'm learning so much, even though I've learned a lot from this past year and these past couple months. I feel like I'm still learning through my journey, which makes me happy because it's teaching me a lot of things about myself that I appreciate and that I love, and that I feel like some people that I've allowed into my life have taken for granted. And whether they knew or they didn't, I'm not going to hold them accountable. I'm not going to sit here and hold a grudge because that's not going to do anything for me. That's not beneficial to me or my healing or my progress. And I'm just going to, continue learning to forgive people that have hurt me or, might hurt me in the future. It's not something that I feel I have to consistently be worrying about how I used to. And it's starting to feel less clogged in my head when I'm not as worried anymore. And, learning to let go and learning to allow myself to not have expectations, I feel like is putting me in a better place mentally. It's allowing me to not feel as disappointed when someone tells me no, or when someone says, hey, I can't hang out today, or I'm doing this, I'm sorry, this came up, like, can we reschedule? Because beforehand, I'll be honest, I used to get frustrated. I still do get frustrated sometimes when someone makes plans and they cancel last minute, or if, I'm very, what is the word? I'm trying to think of the word. Oh my God. I'm very punctual. When I'm told a specific time, that is the time I expect to either be gone or be ready or expect you to be here. And I think I got that from my mom just because growing up, she was very punctual about like holidays and about like being at specific like gatherings or events for family or school or whatever it was. And so growing up with that, that's something that I feel like, see, my thing is, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I mean, it doesn't feel like it's a bad thing to me to be punctual and be on time. But it irks me when people are like, hey, I'm going to pick you up around this time, or like be ready at this time because I'm going to come over at this time. And I'm like, okay, great. And it doesn't happen. And in that moment, yes, I get frustrated and I get upset, but excuse me, I've learned I need to just let it go, even though like it's something that obviously I want to talk to that specific person that tells me that about and let them know like, hey, I would appreciate next time you don't give me like a specific time, because then I'm sitting here waiting and obviously that's going to upset me and frustrate me. And then it also leads me to not be disappointed because I'm expecting you to be here at that time. And so just in that, it's teaching me that the less I expect in people, the more I feel like I won't be disappointed, and the more I won't have to be upset or hurt with people. And that's really hard for me because I feel like sometimes, even without me consciously knowing, I expect from people, which also isn't fair because, they're not asking to have these expectations being put on them. And so that's something that I've also been aware of, that I've been acknowledging and working on, and telling myself like, okay, like, it's okay to like have expectations, but not to consistently be putting them on people and certain things and be expecting it, because then when it doesn't happen, you obviously get disappointed and then you're sitting there hurt. And so I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, all I'm doing is hurting myself even more if I'm going to keep expecting this from people, and I should just be expecting it from myself. So yeah, that's something that I was writing about in my journal yesterday. And Christopher is hanging in there and he's doing what he can daily. And, I'm pretty sure there's going to be more rough days like there was in the last entry. But, I feel like every day it's starting to get a little bit easier for me to manage to not be in my head and not worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. I feel like the more I'm focused on the day at hand, is easier for me not to be overthinking or stressing about what I'm going to do in my future and everything else that goes along with the next day and then the next day after that. And I feel like I am getting happy again, and I'm learning to be more comfortable with being by myself and not depending on someone. And it's good. And I don't know. I know this is going to take me a while to heal from, and to let go, especially of that specific person, because that's something that I have been fearing for a long time. And I'm at a point now where I can't really be scared to lose them, because in a way they're already gone. And I think that's starting to become a realization to me. And so now I'm having to learn to be okay with that, and I will be okay with that. And you know, I'm always going to love that person and I'm always going to care for them. And I will be here even if they were to call me in 5 or 10 years saying they need help, or they just need someone to talk to, or they just need someone to come over and give them a hug. I will do that just because that's who I am. But now Christopher is going to have to really focus on Christopher and, you know, let that part of me go that's been so latched and held onto, and really allow myself to heal to the point where I can tell myself that I don't need someone, that I just need myself. Because right now, going through not having to be codependent is a little hard because, you know, I'm so used to having someone there. And it's been a year. It's been a year and a couple months, and you know, I think it's okay that I'm handling my process my own way because I'm not like everybody else. You know, people are different and they handle grief and breakups and everything else, you know, their own way, and that's just what I'm doing right now. And I'm just gonna continue pushing through as the best as I can. And so I always feel so naked doing these videos, because I feel like I just am bare and there's just nothing in between me and the camera. But I really appreciate the support and love that I get for these entries, and I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to watch them, and it honestly means a lot to me. So thank you guys. That's all I have to say for tonight, and I will see you guys in the next entry.